All right, folks. Today we got a 2019 LX 570. This is my second LX 570 and third LX. And this thing's just awesome. I'm really glad I got back into an LX 570. I mean, there's just no complaints on this vehicle. Eerily so similar to the old 570 I had. As you can see, updates everywhere. 21-inch wheels instead of the 20s. Different tail lights. No molding down here anymore on the lower doors. Rear bumper, everything's changed in the back, from the chrome piece here to the headlights, which they incorporated a little bit of chrome into. You know, there's quite a few updates really throughout the whole thing. This is a lot more sleek there. You know, you can see the chrome there, chrome here, chrome. A lot more updates on this one. So this is more of a ownership review. I bought this with 81,000 miles on it December 20th. It is almost at 85,000. So in 12 days I've put 4,000, almost 4,000 miles on this rig. So I would feel that this is more of an ownership review rather than, you know, that guy that has access to a ton of these vehicles and he's, you know, giving negative, I think it's really outdated. You know, that's all the reviews you see on these are people that have absolutely no idea what they drive like after owning them for, you know, thousands of miles. They're just giving a kind of rash and I don't know, just a very biased review on a vehicle that they're not even ever gonna own. So this is a true ownership review, like all of my vehicles. Any of my vehicles you see on my YouTube channel, I've put thousands of miles on them. So like I said, this is about the same as far as drivetrain goes. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. That really sets it apart from the previous 200 series, the 6-speed trans. Updates everywhere. Mirrors, I think, stayed the same. They did use that glossy black trim here and on the interior that I really like. That just looks cool in my opinion. Of course, headlights, the whole front end is all redesigned. That front end in pictures looks just crazily huge and weird, but in person it's really not that bad. You know, the lights are so cool. You got the LED strip here, turn signal there. I mean, it's just perfection in my opinion. The hood is a lot more defined, especially in the driver's seat. You know, it's almost like you got this reverse hood scoop and then these huge bulges over here, really sleek looking. This one has the ceramic tint windshield. Didn't like it at first until I started to drive at night, and then I noticed that I'm not getting shined by, you know, people who have ultra bright headlights, so that's nice. Other than that, on the exterior and all of the updates, that's it. Looks really nice. More sleek, in my opinion, compared to the 09 I had. Blind spot monitoring, that's nice. Limo tint on the side. I mean, you can't see through it unless you're right up there. And what I dislike, I guess, about, you know, the aftermarket tint is the ceramic tint you can see through just fine on the windshield, but the side tint is so dark at night I can barely see through it. So like I said, almost 85,000 miles, 84,813. About 3,800 of those were put on in the last 11 or 12 days. Turn this off. Again, just like every LX I've owned, you can barely hear the engine idling. You definitely cannot feel the engine. Just super, super, super smooth. Super smooth. So we come down here. You got your same stuff. You know, your 4-low button relatively stayed the same. It just moved over here. And your height control stayed the same as far as buttons go. Your AHC off switch. You got your ECT power second, rear diff lock, or sorry, center differential lock, traction control, crawl control on, off, and your turn assist, which I used. And in the videos, it doesn't look like it does much, but it really does turn this thing around quick. I wouldn't say that that's like a needed feature, and I just tried it out. I wasn't actually using it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You get in a tight spot, you can turn around. Crawl control switch, which relatively stayed the same. Crawl control speed was a toggle similar to this. Same thing with your sport, comfort, eco mode. It used to be a switch just like this, and they were all in a row. I do like these more. There is more of a difference in this specific year with eco, sport mode. It's very noticeable. I would not want to run eco or comfort on the highway. I was running sport or sport plus, and you can really tighten that suspension up at 80 and it just tracks straight into wind and everything. So this one has a heated steering wheel. Again, not necessity for me, but really cool option. This is one thing I really like about the 16 Plus is the seat function layout as far as heat and cool. It's got an auto setting, but it's not that knob that was right here. That seemed awkward and kind of not placed in the right spot for me. Everybody always asked where that option was, and I had to kind of show them how to use it. So I do like this over here. Lost the e-brake on the 16 Plus. Can't say I like that either, but again, you know, it's giving you more space here for your display function. But this was auto engaging when you put it in park when I got it, and I didn't like that. I shut it off, so it only engages if I hit the button there. But I think you go that way to turn it off. Yeah, it's clunky. It kind of makes that weird clicking noise, and I didn't like hearing that all the time. Sometimes it was really loud. So yeah, got rid of that. No more auto parking brake for me. Down here is a lot different. Another thing, a gripe of mine of this is there's no more ashtray. They got rid of the ashtrays. So no more ashtray up here, but you do get your wireless charging and then your USB port and aux port. This one does have the Mark Levinston. Awesome, can't complain about that. Seems like it's relatively the same, but since this one's so much newer than my 09, I think it's safe to say that the speakers are just new and they sound a little better. All of this stuff, there's really not a lot different with the older models, but you have a lot of options down here, and you can control a lot of this stuff without having to go to the screen, which I like. But again, if you do have to go to the screen, it is super easy to use this down here to get where you need to go. Climate Concierge, that's gonna, you know, give you good gas mileage. It's gonna turn on the AC and everything and try to keep it in eco mode, so to speak. I believe this is a 5-disc CD changer as well, maybe a 6. Got the cool Lexus clock here. That does go off of a GPS if you want it to, and it will auto adjust. That's nice. And then we come up here to the screen. Every video that I've seen somebody reviewing these, they are complaining about the function of this screen. Again, they haven't daily drove one of these and put 4,000 miles on it in 10 days. I'm used to it. I love it. You don't have to, you know, get your fingerprints all over the screen. You're not leaning up. Your passenger can use this too. There's, you know, inner buttons on both sides, so a passenger can use it, and they're not leaning up and, you know, putting fingerprints on a screen and I feel like this type of screen is probably more durable and lasts longer anyway. You know, you're not pressing on it all the time. So the functionality of this, yes, it was hard to get used to this whole system. It's actually really tight when you're moving it around. But once you get used to it, you know, go to menu. I can go to, let's go to climate here. You can see all the options for climate. You know, I can change it to whatever I want on both sides. Auto, AC, all of that is incorporated in there. So it's easy to get to. But again, if you don't have to go to the menu, you can just go over here and go to the toolbar over here, and you can go to all of your stuff on the side there really quickly that you need to get to. We'll go to my fuel consumption, go over this real quick. I did notice that this one is getting a little less than my old one. My old one was in the 17 and a half, 18s constantly. This one's a little less. No gripes about that. It's a, you know, 7,000 pound SUV, but trip information, you can see I'm not doing so hot. A lot of idle time this morning, but I see it in the 20s a lot if I'm, you know, just cruising, but we'll see. A lot of highway miles on this so far. Another thing I really like about this is the actual navigation. It shows up on the heads-up display or head-up display, which you can see there. It shows up on there, and it tells you when to turn. Your volume control shows up on there. Your radio shows up on there. The navigation is just flawless on this thing. I much rather enjoy using that than my phone. That's a huge plus for me, is the navigation, and just the ease of use of this whole screen is not an issue like you hear in the other reviews. It's just crazy that somebody can give a negative review on a vehicle that is parked in their dealership lot for a week and a half. So yeah, the screen, no big gripes on that. Absolutely flawless. I like this. Down here, it is kind of big and takes up a lot of room, but it's functionable, and you definitely get used to it. So you got your cup holders down here. Like I said, your charging port there and your wireless charging. Went through everything up here with the AHC functions. Like I said, this one is definitely more noticeable when you're in those different settings as far as eco and normal and sport go. Pre-collision, you can shut that off. Power door off, and then the power door button, really similar to the previous models before the 2016. Steering wheel redesigned, of course, but you know, button layout still the same. Your menu functions here. You got your lane departure and then your radar cruise control distance. I really like that feature. The radar cruise is just awesome. Over here, kind of same stuff. I use this feature a lot for destinations. Really handy. Nothing's really changed. Your call and end buttons are the same. Little different layout. This button didn't change. Same kind of thing. Odometer, trip, and your brightness, which you can see there. This feature is really cool. Lowers when you put it in park and shut the vehicle off, so you can get out easier. Head-up display, windshield washer. Sorry, headlight washers. Wow. And your auto high beams. You know, over here, there's that glossy black that I really like. The window switches feel way different and just more solid. They don't, you know, they don't feel like a 4Runner. Way up here, you feel like T-Rex, you know, getting those 4Runner window switches. And plus, what I noticed is if water's getting in here, if you're off-roading, these switches are totally protected. Even if you got your window cracked and it's raining, all of that water's going up here. It's not going down in your switches. The wood grain, I love this subtle wood grain. It's not as like powerful as the 200 series or even the 100 series. It's really subtle. I wish I could have got that lighter wood, but you can see it's really colorful and just kind of subtle. Just a piece of that wood grain there with the glossy black. You got a little bit of the polished aluminum pieces around here, up on the steering wheel, around your vents, more wood over here. Up here is a lot different. There's not as much going on. There's no switches for the lights because you just press on that area and it turns the lights on. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course you got your sunglass holder again. Really nice to operate. Everything's just very smooth. LEDs here. And of course you got dual visors like every other model of LX. Mirror's a little different. I like the shape of it, and it's big. You know, you got all of your garage door open, your home link functions on the bottom side there. And of course, this is your radar cruise and your windshield automatic wipers there. So yeah, I like that there's not as much going on there. If I remember right, there was a lot of stuff up here on my last LX 570. And of course, this one has the cool box. I doubt I will ever use that. I could just hear the AC kicking on. And of course the sunroof. Right there. Yeah, that door is just completely different than the last one. There's actually like a rubberized different material on the back side here, so it's not all leather. That was really cool, first shutting this door and feeling that back there. The seat, again, I mean, 84,000 miles, almost 85,000 miles in the seat, just looks new. I mean, and they're so much more comfortable than the 09 I had, but you know, just very comfortable and soft. Same kind of options, typical LX 570. You know, you have all of these controls for your seat. Silro with the Lexus lights in there. And what sets this one apart a little bit that I noticed is it actually shines LX at night. You can see it on the tip of my finger there. It will actually shine that onto the ground. This one, Colorado LX, so it's not rusty. Just changed the oil in it last night. All right, come to the back here. You got these screens, which I've shown people and just failed miserably. But yeah, that's different. No ashtrays back here. There used to be an ashtray in this door for the rear seat. Speakers, that glossy black there. Hop into the back here. Okay. So, that's pretty cool. The rear climate just turned on. Let's shut that off. Rear seat heaters on. Let's shut that off. Okay, so if I had to pick, I wouldn't have got these screens. I don't know. I knew this was going to be an issue when folding these rear seats up, because I sleep in these a lot. I go to Michigan and stay at friends' houses, and I sleep in this thing. And I knew that this was going to be an issue with folding these rear seats up. So that's a gripe of mine, is these just get in the way, and I doubt I'll ever even use them. But they're big, and when you're stepping in here, you lose a lot of that space here, but can't complain. Back here, it is a switch instead of tapping on here. That's a little different, but up there, there's no switches. Down here, it's quite different. This used to be where all of your functions were. Sorry, not functions. The sun's killing me. This used to be where all your buttons were, and your cup holder was up here, which I liked more than this. This is just kind of funky, but it does fit all different sizes of cups and everything. So I guess it's all right, but I feel like the buttons are more accessible here and easier to use, you know, rather than leaning. I guess they're trying to get rid of doing as much movement as possible. I mean, you can literally sit here and just do whatever you want on the back without leaning up or doing anything. So this is the back. Seats again are much more comfortable, more spacious. But really, relatively speaking, same thing as the other LX570 I had as far as headroom goes. Feet, and leg room here. And, the door, of course, is just swings open, and it's just like getting out so easy. Yeah. Again, the doors just shut and sound perfect. Auto up, rear hatch. Tailgate. Storage in here. This one's got some weird mats. I wish they would have left me with the carpeted mats. I always like throwing those in the summer. Same switch panel for these rear seats. Auto up, auto down. Yeah, tons of space back here. Tons of space. Everything got switched to LEDs too. Yeah, this is probably my favorite thing about these LX 570s is this split fold rear hatch. I gotta say, getting in and out feels the same, but for some reason it feels so much bigger in the back in this 19 compared to my 09. These seats are just cool. Very bulky looking. Like I said, you can control this from over here on the passenger side. There's an enter button, but you can also just press that down and it works as the enter as well. Glove box console design, the center console top here. That's so cool. It just is like, you open it up and yeah, it's cool. I don't know why my AC turned on, but I can hear it cycling. I don't want that on. There we go. All right, let's pop the hood and go over the engine. But yeah, I took this off-roading up in Michigan and it was, yeah, that's how that happened right there. There's a huge scratch right here. But it definitely does equally as good as my 09, although I took this one on a lot harsher trails than my 09, but yeah, it did really well. Crawl control, all that works out to be absolutely flawless. One thing I noticed right away about the newer LX 570s is they kind of quit with that full cover throughout the whole engine. It used to go all the way back here and was really tight around the engine. And I actually like that they did away with that, because to service anything on this, you're taking on, it takes 20 minutes to, get all these panels off, and you got a stack of panels around. And yeah, I think that was a good idea for Lexus to kind of get rid of all that unnecessary paneling work back there. But typical Lexus, quiet, 5.7. Normally they're not as quiet. This one's just humming away. Another thing really cool about these 8-speed trans is at 90 miles an hour, this is at a little over 2,000 RPMs, like 2,100 RPMs. At 90 miles an hour, you're literally just humming down the highway at 2,000 RPM at 90. It's absolutely unreal, unbelievable feeling. So yeah, nothing changed with the engine. I've got a bunch of spare pulleys and belts and parts from my 09 that I'm going to throw on this when it needs it. But yeah, this is the true ownership review. I showed you what I liked about it. I kind of compared it to my 09. like I always say, you cannot go wrong with an LX570. I mean, these things are just solid. And this is exactly why I keep coming back to these every single time after getting a different vehicle. You know, who knows? I might keep this one for 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, but I will always come back to these vehicles because I get sad about switching to something different. So yeah, on a different scale from my 09 to this 19, I'd say it's huge. Just the overall ride quality is way different, and just, you know, there's nothing like newer. So yeah, 2019 real ownership review, not that bull that you see all these guys doing, like, oh, I don't like the 21-inch wheels and the 5.7 engine is just way too you know, not efficient or whatever. But yeah, true ownership review, 2019 LX570, 85,000 miles.